A few weeks ago, on a whim, my friends and I decided to try Fortnite for the first time in several years. If you're like me and you're in your late 20s or older, you probably haven't been paying much attention to Fortnite since it's more popular with younger people. But with the big reveals at the most recent Game Awards about LEGO Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and the Diet Guitar Hero mode, we decided to pop in to see what all the fuss is about. We had all stayed away from the original Battle Royale mode because we didn't care much for the building mechanic, but with Zero Build now being a permanent game mode, we actually had a really fun evening. Was it a bit more childish than the games we usually play? Sure. Was it really strange to see Vegeta dancing with a furry? Very. But it was fun enough to keep us coming back for a while. Naturally, we decided to try out Rocket Racing too, and wouldn't you know it, it's also pretty good. It's fast-paced, easy to learn for people who haven't played Rocket League, and feels good to veterans of the original game. We played around with the rhythm game and the LEGO mode, which were also pretty good, but it got me thinking, is this good for the industry? But Alex, if game good, how game also bad? Let me explain. This is what Roblox looks like, in case you've been living under a rock. It's not pretty to look at, but like Fortnite, it's popular with kids because it's free, and the thing that makes it special is that users can make complex custom game modes inside of it. There are clones of existing games here and games based on other companies' IPs. How is this allowed to exist, you ask? Well, I mean, look at this. And then look at this. Do you really think that Sega considers that Roblox game to be a large threat to their business? This is one of the best looking Roblox games I could find, but it's still not as good looking as even some of Sega's shakier recent entries in the Sonic series. Now look at this, and look at this. If you didn't know any better, you'd think this is literally different modes within the same game. You could even argue that the Fortnite version looks better. Now obviously, this crossover was done with the permission and cooperation of Psyonix, the makers of Rocket League, but just like Roblox, Fortnite also has a selection of fan-made modes. And they don't look like this. They look like this. Now this one is entirely fan-made and uses assets original to Fortnite, so there's no copyright concern here. It looks pretty good, and you can imagine a young person asking themselves, if there's all these great free games in Fortnite, why would I ever buy another game? Imagine a future where a whole generation of gamers doesn't play games on Xbox, or on PlayStation, or Nintendo, or PC, but plays games on Fortnite. Why buy the new Call of Duty when this exists? Why buy anything when it's all here for free? Why ever support another developer other than Epic Games? Well, Alex, at least people will still buy games with older IP that they respect, right? This Rocket Racing mode could easily have been a separate mode within the existing game of Rocket League. The community had been begging the devs for years to just let them race the cars in addition to the soccer mode. What's stopping Epic from reaching out to other smaller developers and making spin-offs and sequels to their games? Worse yet, what's stopping Epic from reaching out to big companies like Disney and getting the rights to a bunch of their properties? Star Wars Battlefront 3 in Fortnite. LEGO Marvel Superheroes 3 in Fortnite. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in Fortnite.
In Fortnite, in Fortnite, in Fortnite.
Now obviously I'm hyperbolizing a little bit here for the sake of a video, but ask yourself, is there really anything stopping this from happening? You might say, oh, that'd be too much of a monopoly, but our governments don't seem particularly interested in stopping potential monopolies from growing, and most officials have a very limited understanding of the industry. You can imagine Epic making the argument in court that Fortnite is just one game, so it couldn't possibly have a monopoly. They just recently beat Google in court, for crying out loud. Before you get too content to just let the monopoly happen because you think, who cares, the games are good, what does it matter what company makes it? Play a bit of Rocket Racing for yourself. After a few races, you might start to pick up on a bit of jank in the controls, especially when driving upside down. Ask yourself, would a dedicated developer let this slide? Probably not. Would building this game in its own code make it work better than building it on top of a completely different game? Yeah, I think so. In just about every case in history, companies who feel like they have a monopoly allow their product to diminish in quality because what's the point in doing a good job when the customer has no other options? Epic's CEO is Tim Sweeney, and I don't know if he's personally that much of a cartoonishly evil capitalist, but I bet at least a few of Epic's more faceless shareholders are. And I bet they see Fortnite not as just one game, but as a potential hub for some sort of business empire. So what can we do about it? Well, I don't really know. An obvious move is to just not give Fortnite your money. or at least don't give them money for the things related to these licensed spin-off games, but I'm not sure any kind of boycott would be particularly effective here. It's no secret that the majority of players in most free-to-play games spend little to no money on them, but rather just a few so-called whales account for most of their profits. Those folks are harder to reason with. Another obvious response is to just make sure you're supporting other developers. There's plenty of companies still making games the old-fashioned way and charging you one payment up front for them. I know the economy is tight right now, but if you've got Fortnite-addicted younger people in your life, maybe encourage them to try other games. If you'll allow me to get political for just a quick second, maybe we should stop electing fossils to positions of power, and pick some people who are young enough to at least know what video games are actually like these days. I know there's bigger issues going on in the world right now, but it's something to consider. I'm not telling you to just stop playing Fortnite either. Like I said, it's actually pretty good, and I'm gonna keep playing it myself from time to time. It's a fun game, why not? We just have to make sure that we don't enable or encourage Epic to create a monopoly. The games industry will be healthier and better for us as consumers if competition is allowed to flourish. And that competition can flourish even better if it isn't all under one umbrella. If you're new here, subscribe for more, consider catching our live streams or watching our TTRPG actual play show, where you can hear how much dumber I sound without a script, and enjoy the rest of your day.